Okay, here we go. I decided to just forget it. I think the battery will hold
You have a
up.
card? I actually don't.
Things going on already. People taking pictures with Cliven.
Oh, okay, good.
Got fixed with a microphone.
Right, okay. Good. Yeah, let's stay in touch for sure.
And everybody wants to shake his hand, have pictures with him.
All the way.
Very good.
Let me get
Have a handshake there. And we have Aunt Margaret here, the famous one.
Can't be the food.
Press getting pictures already. Oh, latecomer. I saw Carol over here. Let's go see if we can get Carol in here. I'll go this way, you go that way.
Somewhere, yeah.
She's over here surrounded by people.
Oh, wait, it hasn't started, I don't think.
Yeah, John Lamb's
John's
family.
not here yet. Oh,
Yeah,
John's
John's here.
Okay.
There's Carol.
Hey, John, when are you going to start live streaming?
2 minutes.
Okay, is there somebody who wants to connect with you on your live stream? Probably off of Facebook, I'm going to guess. Okay, he's going to be live streaming here. He's going to be live streaming here in just a minute.
I know Revolutionary. So anyway, his car's in house. Don't leave without getting
Yeah. Well, just go to his page.
All right.
And you can see it up from there.
What?
I just want to tell you something.
Oh, I thought you told me to be quiet.
I put the up in the deal up there. My megaphone's there. If you can use it. Okay. I just said it.
Start shouting. We're going to go see this fight. The media's taking pictures of us, taking pictures of them. I don't know, what time is it? Do you have the time?
Almost 1, 5 minutes.
Almost one. Good. Okay.
Oh, 6, but
Fine.
just to be exact. But about 5 minutes.
Now, weren't you the last interview yesterday? No? Okay.
Oh, but that would be cool. I wish.
You look like the gal that was the one doing the last interview.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was very jolly. Yes, he was.
It was
Young
adorable
man.
holding that flag.
Title of Liberty flag.
Okay.
Afternoon.
All right.
Go around so I can see the other side of it. You want to hold that up so we can read it good? That's a great flag. Yeah, Fran, thank you. This is called the Title of Liberty flag. You can all read that in memory of our God, our religion, our freedom, and our peace, our wives and our children. Captain Moroni. Thank you.
What I'm going to do is, am I free to
When this is over, I'm headed down.
This fellow over here is Vincent Easley. He's been down doing live streams on his site.
Hi, Wendy.
What's your site name?
Real Liberty Media. You can find it on the internet, reallibertymedia.com. Also, rlmradio.xyz. On the YouTube channel, it is Real Liberty Media, all one word together. Just type it into the search for in your YouTube. And I'm Vincent Easley II on Facebook, and the Vincent Easley channel over on YouTube, and
All right.
a little bit of here and there and everywhere.
Yeah.
Vince Easley, UCY TV, WordPress. I promised to learn to write this year, so I'm going to do that. Thanks,
That
brother.
means he's
Appreciate
going to
it.
get his spelling, punctuation, and grammar correct, huh, Vincent?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a great proofreader. Send it over to me.
I will. So I have a great working of the trivium, but I skip ahead to the end and the answer. It seems like.
Thanks, Vincent.
Thanks, Wendy.
Now, they're going to let us in here with our little cameras. Sneak right up here. Now I'm in the shade. I'm going to show you what it looks like from the other side here.
Yeah.
This will be Cliven's view, I guess. Right over here, there's a podium-like thing set up here. So right over here, this is Cliven's view. So there. There's people from all over here. Just climbing on the phone, getting some last-minute instructions from somebody. Or giving somebody some last-minute instructions. You were instructed to stand there with that? Let's get a picture of this.
I thought it would be a good idea.
All right. There we go. Roy Finnegan. There's Dee with the boys' brand flag, cattle brand flag. We want to remember all our patriots. We still have some in prison. We're going over to see John Ritzheimer. He goes in Friday at noon. Reports back in. Hopefully only has a couple months to serve yet. So I'm going to go over and see him and share a little love from the Patriot community. That's in Phoenix, and then we'll go up to Stafford, Arizona with me. There's Maysoon Fletcher. That was Ryan Bundy's. I don't know if I can get her on here. She's so tiny. Oh, there she's been reminded
the bat a couple times, and one of the times I was there, there was a female. It was like the last day of the trial.
Sweet young lady. She
And doing
Hi,
the
Mark.
female BLM.
She was Ryan's standby attorney.
Remember, she's crossing her arms.
Ryan was
I wasn't there before. I was in jail. So
have an attorney. See if I can get Maysoon here. I'm talking to Ryan's mom, Carol, right now. There she is. Maysoon, say hello. Say hello, Carol. Whoever else is there. Ryan talking to Phil about Lamb's children. And here we have friendly Metro, or unfriendly, who knows. Now you're writing a book, aren't you? You want to say your name and what book you're writing?
Sure. My name's John Temple. I'm a professor at West Virginia University. I'm writing a book about land issues in the West and constitutionalism. And this is the place to be if you're doing
Yeah, it is. So can we get your personal feelings on those issues?
I don't.
Do you understand the lands rights issues that they're talking about here, that the Bundys are talking
I mean,
about?
I've been doing a lot of research on this, and you know, I think, you know, what I want to do is tell what happened more than advocate a point of view. So you know, so I kind of tend to veer away from.
Okay.
You know,
So what happened
yeah.
with our land, you're saying, or with the Bundy issue?
Both.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
super.
Yeah. Tell the history of you know where this, you know, where the conflicts started and how they
Super.
came about, but then also this. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And do you have a title yet?
No, I don't.
Okay. So
I wish, if
say
you have
your-
one, give me one.
Say your name again, and we'll be looking for your book.
Sure, John Temple.
Temple. Temple.
Yeah.
Super. Thank you,
Thanks.
John.
Yeah,
Good to see you again.
Yeah, take care.
Basically taking the indictment and they're guilty of what they accused us of doing. So
What I this is my recollection. Neither you or your father or brother ever had a gun during that time. You were never armed.
and,
So
and-
what did you?
Well, they accuse us of
Inspiring,
being this leader of this armed standoff. Well, you know, what arms are you talking about? The arms that I saw, the arms that I was afraid of, was the arms being pointed at me by federal agents. And I
Well, I find it ironic that the one protester who was armed.
Sorry, Wayne. It's probably due to being at a police station here. Wayne says I have a very bad signal. It's probably just the police station with all their paraphernalia, listening devices, and whatever else. so I don't know if I'll get Cliven or not, but I'm gonna try. Here he comes.
If you'd like, there's a megaphone. Just put it at the top.
Let me just talk. I think, can you hear me all? Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
No, they want you to hold
We're not gonna be able to do this.
He can just use the mic if you want. Come off of that.
Yeah, use
put
the
it
mic.
Put it at the top.
Okay, we're starting right now live. Push the button. Okay, bye.
Hello. Now I can make some noise again. I want to thank you for coming this morning. And, you know, I guess it's in order to wish you and thank you and appreciate a new year. Definitely it's a beautiful new day. It's a real special new day for me. As I woke up this morning, I looked outside and the sun was shining, the ranch was wet, and the leaves were glittering, and my mind went to how thankful I am to feel to be a free man, and how grateful I am for a Heavenly Father that has created this earth so beautiful, and how great and how wonderful it is to live in a land that we have some free speech and be able to exercise our conscience. And today here we're honored to have the media with us. We recognize your First Amendment rights, and we recognize that we all have First Amendment rights. This is one of the things that for some reason the federal government thought they could take away from we the people. Put us in a pig pen with a red fence and give us two little areas out on the western lands that we could exercise our free speech. That didn't really work out too well, and I thank the American people, thank the media for being here, and recognize and that we do have a great land, and we do have the First Amendment, and we do have free speech, and we have be able to exercise free agency within the press, that they can express our people's feelings. You know, this land is a land that's free. We can exercise and do good or bad. We can go right or wrong. We have a constitution that gives us certain opportunities. And let me talk about our Constitution just a little bit. We have spilled much blood to our founding fathers, those who fought with them, those who fought him since for many generations in all of these wars and world wars, and those that have fought on this land, that have spent their blood and effort, their sweat, their tears. My grandfathers and their wives and their children that came into this country in wagons without roads. The only thing they had that was white man had been here at all was some Spanish trails across this country. That was all when my family come here. And they helped carve the roads that we have today. My uncles, my dad, and even myself and my sons have carved these roads and paved them for you people today. We have raised you beef. We've raised you melons. We've raised hay and grain that fed the milk cows that you and your children have drunk and ate. And we have done that as pioneers in this western land. We have worked hard, and we have enjoyed our lives. We've raised family. Not just family, we've raised family of good people. People with honor, with work ethic. People that would pledge to our flag and bow to our Heavenly Father. This heritage that I have, and this heritage that many of you have had, You know, it's a treasure for the world. It's a diamond. And we have the honor now to respect all of these efforts and to come here together to join and to enjoy and celebrate another victory. We had a victory on the Bundy Ranch in 2014, April the 12th. There's no doubt that our Heavenly Father didn't bless us. There's no doubt that we stood for freedom and liberty. We stood for the rights of these hard labor. We stood for the sovereignty of the state of Nevada. We stood for statehood. And you know, we stand before the county sheriff's office today. And I want to express something. Out of all of the powers in the United States, including all of the powers of Congress, all of the powers of the Supreme Court, and all of the powers of the President of the United States, this man in here that we have nominated and elected as being our county sheriff has the most and the constitutional jurisdiction and authority and policing power more than any man in the world here in Clark County. This is the man that we have elected to protect our life, liberty, and property. We can only honor him and respect him in that position. You know, the last couple of days, I've actually called this man a liar. And this morning I tried to invite myself to come and speak with him in private to decide what we're going to do on Bundy Ranch, what we're going to do in Clark County. Is this man going to stand up and protect our life, liberty, and property? Is this man going to stand up and recognize that he is our authority, that we pay him to be our authority, we have chosen to be our authority? Or is he going to be the policeman and authority and be dictated by the federal government, a foreign government to this county? That is the question that we bring before this office today. Sheriff Lombardo, are you going to represent we the people, or are you going to represent a federal bureaucracy? One that have brought around 200 armed guns and stuck them down our throats 4 years ago. And you impeded and participated and tried to entrap. Is that what you're going to do tomorrow as sheriff? Is that what you're going to do out on Bundy Ranch? Is come and try to impede, entrap, imprison? I spent 700 days in prison as an innocent man and never did get through a trial. I want to tell the sheriff here today that he's darn lucky that Judge Navarro dismissed that action in that court. But darn lucky that didn't go on for a couple of more days, because he would have been exposed, and many others would have been exposed. Now I want to say something good again about him. I want to ask him to be our sheriff. I want to ask him to come forth and act like that he really is representing the people of Clark County. I want to ask him to be a constitutional sheriff with more power than the President of the United States here in Clark County, with the only policing power. And the only thing I can say is we ask and hope that he takes that position serious. And if he don't, I guess we will replace him one way or the other.
Amen.
I want to ask for just one or two questions to give me a little direction on what you want. The media want to ask me a question.
I'd like to start with it. with this trial being dismissed, even with prejudice, and them not being able to retry you, it didn't bring any closure to the issue that brought this whole matter to a head anyways. And you've been dealing for this for near 20 years, so we don't have closure here, or there's no settlement, and that brings peace. Peace is by settlement, and that's what the law is.
That's true. We really what we've done is we claim we've won 2 rounds of this war, but we want to call it a war. But what really happens when Judge Navarro basically creates a mistrial is what really happens here is it sets us back 4 years. You know, the court orders are still in place. Our sheriff is still in the same place he is. Our county commissioner's in the same place. Our highway patrol is in the same place. Our governor's in the same place. You know, the district attorney. What about the brand inspector? He's in the same place. I mean, I'm still running a ranch. I'm still trying to raise cattle. I'm still trying to sell cattle on the market. They have court orders still out there. Not only that, they've created a Coal Butte monument and put it right on top of my ranch. I mean, you know, what do I go home to today? I get out of prison, no guilty sign on me, but I go home, and when I step out of my front yard, I'm breaking some kind of federal law, federal rule. I step out and I have BLM rangers going up and down the road. I have Park Service rangers going up and down the road. I understand what they stand for. They stand for 200 armed army out there. I understand what it feels like to have snipers on me, pointing guns at me at any time I step out of the house. Is that what I'm going to go home to? Every time I go to work my cattle, I drive out on this national park now, or national monument. Does that mean that I could get shot out there when I get out of my truck? Is that what it means? And look at this guy here. I sort of ask him, is that what it means? LA Times. Let's talk about my enemies just a little bit, if I have any enemies. I'm having trouble just taking this onto this button. You know, I look at this world as I don't have any enemies. I love everybody. But click on the button. Hey, that'll be a little better. I look at this world as I want to trust everybody. I want to love everybody. I want to help feed everybody. I want to share my ranch with everybody. I don't only want to share my ranch with everybody, I want to share their own land. The public land belongs to we, the people of Clark County. I want to share that land with them. It's not my land, it's your land. Why can't you guys understand that I protect your land? I protect my rights to the forage and the water and the access to it and the range improvements, but I protect all of your rights to come out there and fish and hunt and camp and ride your bicycle and enjoy the scenery. You know, I looked out of my bedroom window this morning early, and I could see the moon coming through the clouds. You know, it was so beautiful. I want you people to have that right. I don't want you to be stuck with a backcountry byway where you get to go down the sidewalk for 52 miles and turn around and come back, and if you get off the sidewalk, some ranger's going to give you a ticket, and you're going to end up in this federal courthouse down there trying to explain yourself. That's not called freedom. Freedom is when you come out to Bundy Ranch onto your land, and you can take 600,000 acres and drive around, use the roads, the trails, camp and build fire, and cook a weenie for your little girl or little boy. That's what freedom's all about. That's what Bundy's all about. It's not about Bundy being a big rancher and his cattle run there and nobody else has any rights. I only have a few rights, and I'm going to protect my rights. I hope you're going to protect your rights.
Mr. Bundy, there was a group of environmentalists, conservationists, religious leader as well, had a news conference earlier today, and they talked about fear. They have fear now that you are out, and they fear for people visiting Gold Butte. Can you answer that, please?
Yeah, I would like to answer that. You know how I'm going to answer that? Is I'm going to answer it this way. I say that the land in Gold Butte belongs to we, the people of Clark County. And I'll tell you one thing. Anybody that comes over that Clark County line into Clark County is our guest. They have no political or voice. They have no vote. And so they are our guest. We love them. We welcome them. But don't let them think they're going to tell us what to do in Clark County on our land.
Amen.
Since your release, have you seen any BLM Rangers near the ranch or in Bunkerville?
Since when?
Since your release.
No, I really haven't. And
Jeff Gillen, Channel 3.
Okay.
So what got you into the whole thing was the grazing fees. What are you going to do with the grazing fees? Do you have any intention of paying them? What will you do with those?
LA Times will have a nice article coming out about that, and you just read that tomorrow.
Well, but give us here in Las Vegas just a little bit. What do you want to do? Are you going to pay them? Are you going to not pay them? What are you going to do?
Well, let me answer it this way. I have a 15-second defense to all of these charges. A 15-second defense. You know, by now Las Vegas should have been able to understand what the 15-second defense is. How many of you understand what my 15-second defense is here?
Here.
Oh, you got a few of you understand. I'll tell Las Vegas one more time. I graze my cattle only on Clark County, Nevada land, and I have no contract with the federal government.
How many reporters do you think understand the Constitution he understands?
Oh, I'm sure all of these reporters understand the Constitution.
Mr. Bundy, what would you do if they come to impound cattle?
That's the sheriff's problem, not mine.
Mr. Bundy, Maggie Rose McGrath with Revolution Radio. The way your sons were teaching us when we were at the refuge, many of us journalists were there, was that there were three constitutions, the real Constitution and two others they were trying to suck us under. What we understood is what we learned about Constitution is the BLM only had the right to own the District of Columbia 10 by 10 by 10 federal military bases and also shipping export ports. If I was to pay my grazing fees in California or Oregon, I should pay them to my county or to my state, not to the federal government, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, all these people understand the Constitution. You know, in Article 1, 8 and 17 pretty well explains what the federal government can own. The way I understand it, the federal government can't own any land. Any land. Anybody understand it? They can't own any land, and else it's Article 1, 8 and 17, and they have to purchase that land from the state. And they only can purchase that land for a couple of reasons. One is for military purposes, the other would be for other buildings. And that would be something like a post office or a courthouse. And they can purchase that land from the state of Nevada if they would like to have some land with the consent of the legislators and the Congress. Now I have a little question to ask you, a very simple question. Why would the Constitution say that the federal government has to purchase land if they own all of this land? I mean, why would the Constitution say you can own land if you purchase it? Why would they say that? And then the other thing, if this land don't belong to the state of Nevada, how could the state of Nevada sell this land to anybody if they don't own it?
Right.
I mean, I don't have to take my hat off to, that's a very, I mean, how could they be a state if they don't, another thing about the Constitution, they want to say their property clause of Article 4 gives the federal government power. Has anybody read the Constitution in Article 4? Well, first thing I see in Article 4, it says the Congress has power to dispose of the territory. Well, nobody ever admits that anything's been disposed of. It says it has the power to make needful rules and regulations over the territory. Is Nevada a territory?
No.
How long has it been since Nevada was a territory?
It's 1864, October 31st.
Okay.
Birthday, ain't it?
Happy birthday, Ryan.
And how long was Nevada a territory of the United States? Who knows that?
Not long, because it was Mexico or something.
Yeah, it belonged to Mexico. It became a territory in 1861. No. Yeah,
1848 was the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, but I don't know when the actual territory.
Yeah, it was 61. 1861 it became a territory, and then in 1864 it became a state. Now, when this was a territory, of the state of Nevada, the Congress had basically unlimited power to make all rules and regulations, but they disposed of that power. And when they disposed of that power, they lost all of that power. What power did it remain? No power, and else it was under Article 1, 8, and 17 power that they had bought some land. Congress lost all of their legislative power, judicial power, all of it.
Are you going to be suing the federal government for your civil rights being violated in this case?
You know, let me tell you something. I have to make a big decision here. Either I'm going to have to forgive and forget all of those aiders and betters, or I'm going to have to hold them accountable.
Mr. Bundy, have you thought about personally going after these criminals legally for their personal possession rather than the government? Going after them on a personal aspect, meaning they conspired to perpetuate theft of your land and they no longer have immunity. Should you consider going after their personal assets?
Well, you know, there's a lot of
I'm in a pretty
considerations.
good spot, aren't
But let me talk to you a little bit about who would Bundy be mad at? Let's ask this question. Who would Bundy be mad at?
Harry Reid.
Okay, Sheriff Harry Reid. Who else do you think he'd be mad at?
Roy Reid.
Roy Reid.
Laurie Navarro.
Obama.
Ryan Rutledge.
Okay, let me tell you who Bundy would be mad at right off the bat. You know, I would be mad at my Nevada State Brand Inspector.
Yeah.
Does that surprise anybody? I pay my Nevada State Brand Inspector just like I pay the sheriff in here, but I pay him even more directly. Every time he comes and inspects an animal out of my range, I pay the Nevada State Brand Inspector. Why do I pay the Brand Inspector? What is his job to do? What's he supposed to do?
Protect your assets.
He's supposed to protect my cattle. He aids and abets with the federal government to come and steal my cattle. What's the word that the brand inspector would have to say to stop all of these problems that we're having today? Well, one word, what would he have said?
No.
The brand inspector would have said no. That's all. Now, the county sheriff has policing power over Clark County. What would the county sheriff should have said or could have said to stop all of this? No. He just have to say no. What would the county commissioner have to say? What would the governor of the state of Nevada have to say?
No.
But what did they do? They aided and abetted with the federal government to steal my cattle and imprisoned Bundy for 2 years, 700 days. Now I either got to forgive these people or I've got to hold them accountable.
Which are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Can you do both?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm considering my options.
What would holding the sheriff accountable mean, though?
Well, It would mean that tomorrow when I get up in the morning, that I know that the county sheriff would be out there to protect me, my life, liberty, and property. It would mean that when I went to work on my ranch, say dig a post hole to put a post in, or to fix a water line, or to catch a cow, or whatever, that I wouldn't be need to be afraid that I had an army of violent people that's going to try to shoot me. It would mean that the sheriff is doing his job. It would mean that when I called the brand inspector to inspect my cow, he would come and inspect and make sure that cow was mine before I was able to sell it or move it. And it would mean that I wouldn't have to worry about him inspecting my cow out to the federal government. That would be what the solutions here would be.
But if you feel like he's not doing his job, what are you saying you will do? So consider.
I'm not saying will do anything. I said I haven't made that mind up whether it's going to do anything. I would just hope that the sheriff would act like he was a sheriff of Clark County.
Mr. Bundy, what do you do, Mr. Bundy, if the federal government moves against you again? What will we see? Another standoff? What would you do?
Yes.
Who are you? Who are you?
Whatever it takes.
So listen,
We'll go back again.
I guess it would be whatever it takes, but you know what? The first thing it would take a call to the county sheriff to come and protect me. And then if the county sheriff did come to protect me, I guess we would sort of go through the same scenario that we've been through.
What do you say to your fellow ranchers out there, Mr. Bundy, who are being...
They're all gone.
They're all gone.
They're all gone.
There aren't anymore.
They ran them all off.
To other ranchers who are paying grazing fees, what do you say to them?
They're running them off.
I'm saying that you're... I'm saying they're wasting their money and they're paying it to the wrong government.
Mr. Bundy, were you able to speak with Sheriff Lombardo or meet with him, or what happened with your attempt to meet with him?
Well, it was pretty generic, I guess. He didn't talk to me. He sent one of his assistants, and they just said that the sheriff was busy. He had other businesses, and he was too busy to talk to me today. I invited him to come out here to the meeting and address him. I mean, if he showed up, that'd be great. We'd welcome him. But he was invited to come before you people today. He was invited to meet with me in private before this meeting, so we could. All I can say is the sheriff's too busy today.
Are you considering running for office?
What's that?
Are you considering running for political office?
Well, you know, we definitely need a new governor, and we could use a new sheriff. And I don't know, we might need to replace the county commissioners too. And you know, I don't know. I could probably do the brand inspector's job.
Mr. Bundy,
yes.
If the Clark County Sheriff's Department continues with their current stance, if the state of Nevada
Well, what is their current stance?
If the state of Nevada continues to recognize this land as federal public land, are you saying that there is another chance of another armed standoff happening in the region?
You're not saying it was the feds that did the standoff. They come barred the way. It wasn't the Americans that come out there by the thousands, let me add. By the thousands that came to stand in the gap.
Let me correct you on one thing. It wasn't a standoff. This standoff is a media thing. Where was the standoff?
It was a peaceful protest.
It was a protest, and who was we protesting?
The lack of due process.
We was protesting the county sheriff.
There were guns being pointed.
Okay, whose guns were pointed at who? Whose guns were pointed at who? We went through a court and we found out there was nobody pointing the guns at it. And you bring it up, their guns pointing at. Well, yeah, they were guns. I'm saying there was 200 guns pointing at the people. 200 guns pointing at them.
Snipers that they tried to keep out of court.
They threatened we the people's lives, and the county sheriff should have made sure that didn't happen. They beat up my sister. They tased my sons. They killed my cattle. They threw my sister to the ground.
Destroyed property. They
buried
killed cattle.
They took it.
Hey,
Remember the kill list.
Like Dan loved BLM.
And remember my son. I want to tell you a little story about my son Dave. My son Dave has been my partner ever since he was a little baby. He's like a little bear. He wanted to just hang on, and I took him with me. He would rode on that horse with me. He rode on the tractor with me. He would climb on the back of my horse when he was, 2 or 3 years old, and I'd put him with his fingers in my belt loops, and he would hang on, and I'd take that little boy off, and his little fingers, the skin on his fingers would come off because he hung on so hard while I was trying to work cattle. He would always get back on that horse and ride with me. My son, the day of, I don't know about the 6th of April 6th, 2014, my son had a job. He was going to Boulder City, I believe, or Laughlin. He had a job that he was going to be an airline pilot to fly the scenic tours up the Colorado River. It was a new job for him. He was excited to be able to take that job, and he was on his way from his home up in Utah to go to Laughlin. He knew it was his mother's birthday. He stopped in somewhere, St. George or somewhere, and brought a card and a bouquet of flowers. And when he come down I-15, he pulled into the ranch, and he gave his mother the flowers and the card. And they said, well, the BLM is out there gathering Dad's cattle. And so he rode up the road about 4 or 5 miles to sort of see what was going on. He stopped along the road, got his iPod out. There was some convoy of BLM people bringing cattle off the mountain. And the BLM and the Highway Patrol, they see him there, and they come and attacked him, and they beat his face into the gravel. And there's documents of it that put their feet on his head and pushed him in the gravel, and when they come up, he had rocks stuck in his face. They put handcuffs on him and put him in their vehicle and took him over to the compound where they'd been collecting my cattle, which is probably about 6-7 miles away from where he's at. And they displayed him like they just shot a nice big buck deer. They was showing him off, their trophy. And then they left him out of there for several hours, and they took him over to Henderson, put him in the jail over to Henderson. The next morning, they picked him up and brought him to the courthouse here in Las Vegas. And my son told me, he said, Dad, he said, I thought my life was over. He said they'd abused me until I thought that they was going to kill me. They put me in this courthouse, and he said they left me there and interrogated me and carried on. And then he said all of a sudden things just changed. He said they took the handcuffs off me, brought me a little sack lunch, and opened the door and kicked me out on Las Vegas Boulevard. He walked down to the street. He didn't have no money, but he did have a credit card, I guess, in his wallet. He said, I didn't have nothing to make a phone call, so he went up to a lady that was buying gas and said, I'll buy your gas if you'll let me use your phone. He used the phone and called me. I had been right here at this sheriff's office that morning. I was on my way home. And he called me and told me where he was. He was on, I think it's Torts and Las Vegas Boulevard. And so I come back. When I got back, the media was there. I don't know whether it was Channel 8 or 13 was already there. He was, sort of beat up. This is how the government treated my little boy that only was going to just give his mom some flowers. And you guys think I'm supposed to just love what happened? I just spent 700 days in their jail. a little bit upset about that sometimes. Now I've got to make the decision whether I'm going to be bitter the rest of my life, whether I'm going to forgive them. But one thing for sure, I'm going to go back and ranch. I'm going to produce you people some more food, and I'm going to fight for your freedom and liberty to come out on your land and enjoy your land.
Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Bundy, one more question. How many people here in the media understand that in 2002, Gloria Navarro with her husband Brian Rutledge conspired with Harry Reid and Roy Reid behind the Goldview National Monument in Clark County?
I don't know. I just know that we still have our land. It's still Clark County, Nevada land, and we love our land, and we're going to use our land, and we're going to enjoy it. Let me just make one little more point here. You know, I ranch on the east side of Lake Mead. There's approximately about 110 miles of straight airplane shoreline. But you know, there's over 400 miles of shoreline that should be being enjoyed by we the people. You know how much of that shoreline you have access to today? How much do you think you have out of the 400?
A mile?
400 miles.
A mile?
You do not have 1 mile. You can't even get to it unless you walk to it to have 1 foot. Now you can ride your boat across there. And let me tell you something. I ranch along that lake. That lake used to have lots of boats. It used to have lots of houseboats. It used to have skiers. It used to have campers along the bank. They used to have bonfires, and they used to fish at night. There was beautiful beaches there, sandy beaches that they picnicked and enjoyed, swimming and whatever. And you know what happens now? I spend days I've been in jail for 2 years, but I spent days along that lake. And I would see maybe 2 little boats out on that lake, probably some older people fishing, just 2 little boats, no campers, no motor or fish or houseboats, no access to the lake.
Why is
that's your public land. That's your national recreation land. Lake Mead National Recreation Land. No people. Why? Because they're tired of going down there to the federal courthouse and paying tickets. They've ruined your picnic.
Just to drive the North Shore Road, they charge you.
Yeah, they have ruined your picnic. Why do you think Bundy said disarm them and tear down the entries into the park? Because we want access to our land, and we don't have it.
Give the state back their land.
Hey, I thank you, media. I thank you. I want to tell America that I love you. I think this is the greatest land in the world. I think it has a lot of promises for our future. I think we have a great future. Nevada has so many resources and so much land. And you know, you go up through Nevada and you travel from Las Vegas to Reno, and you know, you go up through a depressed world. You come to these little towns, and you can see they used to thrive. And what do you have? You got a ghost town, and it's not even a ghost town anymore. It's just a junk town. You know, that's not what Nevada. These little towns need to be thriving. We need to be enjoying this land. We need to be using it, and that's what Bundy stands for. Thank you.
Let me just say something about Cliven. Let me just say something about Cliven. My name's Larry Clayman. I've represented him in a number of capacities. I've gotten to know him in the last 4 years. I visited with him at least 25 times when he was in prison and in jail. This is one of the finest people, if not the finest person I've met in my entire life. And his family is the same way. I've grown to love these people. And they're here for you. And they're here for the people of Clark County and for the United States. You have to thank him for what he's done.
Amen.
Thank you,
Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
God bless you, Larry.
That was Jamie's head right on my camera.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay, Jamie. We're past.
Sorry.
And Raja Tara Lee says hello.
Hi, I miss you. I'm coming out by you tomorrow.
Shipping media, these people jumped in it. I think that's cognitive dissonance. Right there for you folks. The media. They suffer from it to the extreme. There is a couple here that interviewed Cliven. They did Cliven's last interview yesterday, and they did a good job. Good people.
My son is
This
in
fellow
jail.
right there. I'm hoping Tell me, you did the last interview yesterday, right?
Yes.
That was great.
Thank
Where
you.
are you folks from?
Crowdsource the Truth. This is my old company.
Okay. Oh. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
No, but we're working on stuff still. In fact, we need to get out of here so I can go work on stuff.
Ryan says he's got to get to work. There's Jamie. Margaret, Mel. Say goodbye for the day, I guess.
Buddy, thank you for supposed to be in the front. I'm Jeff, by the way. Nice to see you again. Who are you, young man? Oak. Nice to meet you. Jeff Gilman. So, good luck. How are the cattle?
Well, I think our numbers are down. We need to increase our herd, but there's a lot of feed out there. There's a lot of feed that we're not eating. Last year we had good rain and hoping for a good spring this year. The ones we have are good.
Did you get any rain out there, Ryan?
Yes, lots of beautiful rain.
Good.
Lots of beautiful rain.
Happy to hear that. Thanks, Ryan, for everything.
It's a wonderful gift. For,
It is.
The rain, and especially the day that my dad got out. What better weather could have been asked for?
I felt like the heavens were crying from happiness. Tears of joy.
I believe so.
I think so. Thanks, Ryan.
Hey, we didn't get to hear from our new sheriff.